Does this work for any genre? Like,
I
yeah,
mean,
I guess.
so the place to start, I think, really, if you're an independent artist listening,
Yeah.
and you're like, does my genre work? Is one, I'm of the belief that there's always a place. There's always a home. It might not be the brief that comes across the desk every single day, but there's, where people are asked for more. When I was pitching music, there was no space for bilingual music. Now it's being asked for all the time. Like just a few years, things are changing. Like and so I think make there's always going to be a home. It just might not be all the time. So, as an independent artist, if you can do your research, listen to the shows, a great place to go is on TuneFind and figure out what are the playlists of the song, like what are the songs sound like that are being played on the shows. There's
Mm.
also, you can look on Spotify. A lot of the different shows have their own playlists of music if the music has been released. You can look on there's a bunch of different places where you can figure out what's being played in different ads. We cover it too on Basecamp, in licensing Basecamp, to just understand what is being placed where. And if you can find, oh, these three shows seem to have like dark Americana. Like these are the kind of shows. Who are the supervisors on those shows? Like what other shows kind of sound like this? If I put in this artist in Spotify, what are some other artists that come up? And you kind of get to see how it, there's lots of space for different genres. It has a lot to do with your lyrical content, the radio readiness of your song, and some genres are used more than others. So, yes, there are some where it's like, oh, that is so current. That's being used on a ton of different shows right now. And there's some like, well, that's not going to come up every day, but like we can hear your heart and authenticity in that song, and it's going to find a special home one day. And when we need something like that, that's going to be perfect for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sonnet makes a really great point in terms of that there are more homes for particular kinds of music, but there's probably a home for every song in sync, I would say. It's just like sometimes what you're doing is so niche, and the opportunity, you got to be ready to pounce on the opportunity when it comes. That opportunity might come once every 20 years. And are you in the conversation when that opportunity pops up? Or are you making something that's more in like a modern genre, or something that seems to be, because there's a flavor of the week all the time when it comes to sync? There's a flavor of the week. And if you're making that flavor of the week, then you might get, a few different opportunities a month to pitch that music if you have the ear of the right people that are working on the right kinds of projects. So but everybody does have a home in sync. It's just sometimes like specific genres of music, like for example, jazz music, or blues music, or just really niche styles of music. There seem to be far fewer briefs. Even country music, I would say, is another one where it's like there really
Mm.
isn't a lot of opportunity in sync, but there's going to be phases with all that. And I imagine with country, that'll probably open up at some point down the road, because it's just such a popular genre. But
And I think when when you start doing the research, you're like, oh, well, it's not maybe straightforward country, but there's crossover in like pop country or
yeah,
Americana country, or like, how can I bring what I do great to the table and maybe collaborate with somebody who's doing something else and marry a genre that is being more used, or something that is, more useful in terms of the number of syncs that are getting it. There's always a space for that kind of marrying of genres as well.